All right, guys. Well, how are y'all doing?
Tired.
Tired? How are you? I'm good. Thank you for asking.
How was your trip?
It was good. Yeah, went to Austin.
What's new?
Went to Austin.
You go bowling?
No, I didn't go bowling. Why did I go bowling? I was
This is
good
my
time.
just throw
Joker, Joker, no.
Huh?
so confused.
I went to Austin.
Yeah, exactly. Austin still.
I did have a good time, but I saved the bowling stuff for like hanging out with them. So just kind of a show of hands. So just kind of a show of hands, and I just mean an exact show of hands, like no words to be said, just show of hands, because I don't want anything to happen. But how many of you seen Avengers so far?
Don't spoil it.
That's why I said no words.
Did
you see that part?
Wait, which one?
Hey, did you know Batman?
The newest one, the one that's in theaters still.
Besides you.
I don't want to spoil it, but it's called Endgame.
Oh my
That's really
Guys, you clear yourself. All right, y'all can talk more a little bit more, but not like in general. But this next question. But how many of you are excited that it's finally May? Woo! That means like summer's right around the corner. All right, so are y'all like not? Because like that didn't seem like a really exciting answer from y'all, like response from y'all. Like
Connor.
I know you got some text going up, but like, you're almost done with it. All right. What'd you have?
Oh, we have starting this week finals.
Yeah.
Start
Well, after that, it's a summer, right?
and finals. Not for me.
So let me ask you this.
That'll get us
Let me ask you this. For those of you who have seen it, for those of you who have seen Avengers, and those of you who have not, and also those of you who are excited for summer coming up and the end of the school year, let me ask you this. Which one are you more excited about?
Summer.
Are you more excited about the Avengers movie or summer? All right, so speaking of summer, guys, speaking of summer, don't forget that May 22nd, the 22nd of this month, is the last day to sign up if you're going to Six Flags. That's next. Yes.
When's the last time you
For Six Flags, it's May 22nd. So the 22nd,
I
that's
have
a
a about
Wednesday.
Six Flags.
So Six Flags is on June 6th. That's on a Thursday.
Oh.
Yeah, I had to think about that. Yes.
Do you know who's like driving down there?
I'm one of them, for sure. Depends on how many people we have going and who can drive.
Okay.
I'll ask.
That's one thing my mom said. She said who's driving. She's always.
All right, I mean, if she wants to go, she can drive. I mean, I have no problem
She
with that.
cannot go, Hannah.
Oh, she cannot go
It's
there.
right before Disney.
It's right for Disney.
No, we can still go.
It's all, so register at firstmontgomery.org if you want to go to Six Flags. It is $38. We're gonna go down there June 2nd. We're gonna like get there early. So like we're gonna leave here like at
5:30.
No, we're
6:30 or something. Seriously, we plan on being there by 10. All right.
10 in the morning?
Yes, we plan on being there by 10 in the morning.
Hey, that's better.
Hey, no, exhibit. We plan on being there 10 in the morning, and then we're going to spend the whole day at Six Flags, and then we're going to come back that morning. We're going to have stop for breakfast. We're just going to make 2 days out of it. So June 6th or 7th.
Are you paying for our breakfast?
No, but thanks for asking.
Yeah.
Y'all can always go and not eat. I mean, that's fine. Or bring a sack breakfast.
Everyone's rich.
Hey, if we go to Denny's, they have like a $2.99 thing going on.
Or we can just go to IHOP and pay like $6 and everyone can get pancakes.
For 6 months? Like,
Yeah, because the unlimited thing.
but you have to pay $6 each. That's illegal if you do that. Alright. Looks bad on the church doing that. Alright, so any other questions about Six Flags? June 6th, $38. Sign up before May 22nd. We got 2 people signed up so far, so sign up. All right. Next thing is camp. Camp registration is online at firstmontgomery.org.
What day is camp? Days.
Week of the 15th of
I
July.
can't make it. I have another. Yeah, me too.
So, okay. What?
Are you still filming?
Huh?
Are you still filming?
Live streams on Instagram, everything. I don't want to tell you.
Anyway, so guys, camp is July, the week of July. Camp is the week of July 15th. I got 50 spots blocked off. That includes adults. We have about 15-ish, maybe 16-ish people already going. So if you want to make sure you have a spot, earlier the better. If you don't have your cost on how much you owe, please let me know. It's going to be really hard to do another fundraiser, guys, but I am looking into it just because there's so many things going on right now, so many things getting prepared for, and then we have a fundraiser going on right now, so if you continuously hit the church for fundraisers, it's not a good thing. So I'm going to try and do something, but I can't guarantee anything will happen. But so if you want to know your costs for camp, let me know. I do have that if I haven't given it to you already. Yeah, cool. And if your brother got the $50 off during Easter egg hunt, so there we still have $150 off at camp.
I'll take it.
If you have it, let me know. All right, there's a piece of paper, one of the Easter eggs. Any questions about camp that I may not have covered? Don't have to bring your own food. That's included into the price. Camp's fun, yes. Anything else? Cool. Awesome. So today we're going to conclude in our series of James. We've been talking about the guide to a better Christian life, and the book of James is written by James toward Christians, or toward people who believe in God, and he's saying this is what it looks like to follow God and live the Christian lifestyle. This is what it looks like. And so it's a book that we could compare ourselves to and evaluate ourselves and see, are we doing this? Are we living this out? And today we're going to be talking about, well, before I get into it, let's start with some slides. There are a lot of things that people use these days that they don't really know that they're misusing. Like they use it for the wrong reason, and there's other ways to use these items. For instance, ketchup packets. That's a really blurry picture, but ketchup packets. Those little cups of ketchup that you can just stretch out and turn into a little plate, and it's easier. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
My life has been a lie.
So wooden sporks. So they're wooden for a reason, so that they don't get hot. And you can put them on top of boiling water, and it pops the bubbles, and it won't boil over. I didn't know that. Magic. Right? This one, I don't know if I'll ever do because it seems complicated, but there's in the aluminum thing, the little box, the little tab you can poke
That's
in.
pretty obvious.
Okay, cool.
No, I don't.
Tic Tacs, it has a holder.
No one eats one. You didn't know that? Let's do this.
Some of y'all may not have known that.
Let that be that.
No, that's fine. All right, and then the end of the pot.
That's not
You can't do it. Ever since I figured this out, I've been doing this.
Because that means it won't drip out like drip.
Yeah, if it drips, it'll go down the spoon, and then
Whoa, mind blown.
mind blown, right?
Yes, I've done that. I've done that.
No one's done so, so let's roll.
Please, anyone in public, when you did this.
I know that.
Last but not least, kind of the same thing with the ketchup thing, but the Chinese to-go boxes, you can split them and make a little plate out of it. So, so there's a lot of things, and that was just a couple. You can go online and find more, but there are a lot of things that we use, that we misuse without even knowing. And today we're going to be talking about one of those things on a more spiritual level, and that's wealth. Like people misuse wealth. You might be going, Matt, hold up. I'm 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and I'm poor. Guys, it's cool. I am too. All right. But we misuse it. We need to talk about it. We need to talk about it. It's one of these things that we need to cover so that we know how to use it. Now, some people are blessed with more money, more wealth than other people. But hold up. First of all, wealth could be a tool we are misusing. Okay, let me put that out there first. Wealth could be a tool that we are misusing. So let me say that if you have money, if you, like I said, more people are blessed than others with money. That's a tool that you can use for God. Now, you don't have to be rich to be used by God. That's just one tool out of many. If you have a car, God's giving you that car to use for His glory. If you're married, that marriage is for God's glory. Whatever you are blessed with, you can use as a tool for God's glory. And wealth is just one of these tools, and the one we're going to be talking about today, it's something that we can misuse, and we don't think about it the right way. So why does wealth matter? We're going to look in James chapter 5 today, 1 through 6. If you have your Bible. If not, there's part of it, if you can read that.
Thank you.
All right.
You just do
All right, here we go. Come now, you rich, weep and howl for your miseries which are coming upon you. Your riches have rotted, and your garments have become moth-eaten. Your gold and your silver have rusted, and their rust will be a witness against you, and will consume your flesh like fire. It is in the last days that you have stored up treasure. Behold, the pay of the laborers who mowed your fields, and which have been withheld by you, cries out against you, and the outcry of those who did the harvesting has reached the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. You have lived luxuriously on the earth and led a life of wanton pleasure. You have fattened your hearts in the day of slaughter. You have condemned and put to death the righteous man. He does not resist you. All right. So again, we're talking about wealth, and the two things that I want to focus on that we can see here on why does wealth matter, and these two defining things is this: one, wealth can hurt you, and two, wealth is to be shared. Yes.
Winning the lottery is one of the worst things.
Why?
Those people get crazy.
Yeah, because they misuse their money, right? Yeah. So now don't get me wrong, guys. Actually, all right. So let's look at that first one. Wealth can hurt you. Why does wealth matter? Wealth can hurt you. If a lot of people place their trust in money and wealth, and when you do that, you're taking that trust that should be in God, and you're taking it away from God and putting it into these things. Even Christians do this. And why do we do this? Because it's security. Half of it's security. Half of it, we believe that our total security comes from money. And then half of it's just greed. Half of it's just wanting things. And our destiny, or not our destiny, but our will is to go out and achieve the most we can. To go get that good job, and this is for security as well, but go to a good college, get that good job, and make a lot of dough. Like that's the dream of most people. Why? Because of security, and because of us just wanting things, the greed. We're putting all of our stock, pun intended, into money.
We get it.
Thank you.
I got it.
Thank you. So you've heard the phrase. Well, maybe you've heard the phrase. Let me know if you've heard the phrase. that money is the root of all evil. You've heard this?
I've heard that.
You've heard that, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to turn there, I have it up here. 1 Timothy 6:10 says, "For the love of money is a root of all sorts of evil, and some by longing for it have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs." So the key there is that money's not bad. Money is not the evil thing. We need money. I need money to eat. I've done a good job. I need money to pay the bills. I need money to live. Like money is not a bad thing. But the key word there is for the love of money. It's not money itself, it's the love of money. It's the focus of, I don't just need money to survive, but I am willingly and actively seeking money. Again, security and greed. I remember when I was younger, I went to South Carolina with my dad and my stepmom. We went to go visit my aunt, my uncle, and it was the most snow I had ever been in. Like, I could use the restroom in snow, and it was like steaming. It was gross, but it was awesome. It was gross. And
Matt, tell us
sorry,
that.
that's just the first thing I always think of when I think of the story. Thank you. But so we go there and we're hiking, and there's this waterfall, and then there's this lake at the bottom, or whatever at the bottom, and so I'm like, I want to go down there. And I see my dad and my stepmom, my uncle, my aunt going straight, and there's this other path that goes, and I'm like, maybe that goes down there. And so I go that way. They didn't know this. I'm behind them, and then I just go that way, and I go and go. I'm not really paying attention. I'm just kind of going, trying to get to the end here, making turns, and again, not paying attention. And I finally come to the water, and I thought it was so cool. And then I turned around to go back, and I realized I didn't pay attention to all these turns I took. Like I'm literally lost in the snow, and it's freezing. And so I go back and I try to retrace my steps. It takes me a little bit. I started to freak out a little bit, but then I finally found my dad and my stepmom, my aunt, my uncle. My uncle gave me an earful. He told me what's up, and I learned my lesson. But I say all this to point out that sometimes when we focus on something, such as money, that again, that's our focus. We take our focus off of God, and we focus on this other thing that we shouldn't be focusing on quite as much. And we go down this path, and we're not really paying attention. And then all of a sudden, we're far away from where we should be. Timothy 6 even says that some, by longing for it, have wandered away from the faith. This can drive a wedge between your relationship with God. Now, don't get me wrong. Once you're saved, you're always saved. But you can wander away. You can go the wrong direction. God's willing to forgive you. But you have to be, you're going, that wedge is still there. Some people who don't know Christ, they look at money and that can separate them from Christ for eternity, because they don't even know Christ. They're not saved at all. And they put their stock in money. Again, guys, I know y'all are not rich. I don't think, maybe some of you, I don't know. But I know I'm not rich. But one day you're going to go off to college, you're going to make these decisions, you're going to go for a job, and that's fine. Supporting your family is fine. That's good. But where's your focus going to be with the wealth? So wealth can hurt you if you let it. The second thing I want to look into is wealth is to be shared. Wealth is to be shared. Looking back at our passage, in verses 4 through 6, we see that these people that James is writing to has these laborers and workers in the field, and they've been withholding their wages. They've been withholding their payments. because of greed. And when you look back at Leviticus and Deuteronomy, there's strict rules and laws that God has provided about doing that, about not withholding. And these guys are supposed to be Christians. These are supposed to be following God, but they're not doing this. James points out again that they put their treasures on earth. They've left their treasures on earth. See, when we follow God, when we obey Him and we seek Him continuously, we do store up these things called treasures in heaven. Now, these are not things, I don't know what these are going to be when we get there, but that's not the focus of this. But we get these treasures in heaven, and these people are being greedy and withholding their wages and seeking their pleasure in earthly things, where James is like, your treasure is on earth, not in heaven. Like you have your pleasure and your treasure right here. He says this has made you lazy. As Christians, you're supposed to be active, following Christ. But when we again, wealth, if we just focus on the earthly things, it's going to make us lazy. And following Christ is going to be so much harder. Because we're in our comfort zones and we need to break out of that comfort zone, but we don't want to because we're lazy. And then finally he points out how the wealthy were using their money to influence courts to sentence innocent people to death. I can't help but feel in this part of the passage that James is taking a jab at the Pharisees, the ones who are supposed to be godly people of the Jewish godly people, but their influence caused Christ to be crucified. Now, there's no biblical proof or support for that, but I can't help but feel like maybe that's a jab at that. But it's true. If all your focus is on money and wanting to be powerful through money, then the greed is going to consume you, and you're going to go down a path like I did when I was little and end up somewhere where you're not wanting to be, and it's going to affect you. I know whenever like this last week on vacation and other times in my life when I had school, different reasons, but I tend to stay up late. I just naturally tend to stay up late. I'm talking like 12, 1, 2, 3. And when I do that, and I wake up early, guys, I don't know about you, but that affects me. Like I'm grumpy. Like I don't treat people well when I'm grumpy. And so I don't know if you can relate to that, but that's me. And that's the same thing with wealth. If our focus is, and we're being consumed by that and the greed of these earthly things, it will affect you. It will change you. I remember one of the first things that Emily and I discovered together while being married was that I don't know how to use a potato peeler.
It's okay.
I don't get it.
Back there like
I don't get it. Yeah, so I tried it once. Then Emily was like, "Go peel these potatoes." I was like, "It's a lot of work." No,
Just use a knife then. Oh, who said that?
It's easier to use a knife.
I'm so proud of y'all.
That was me.
So Emily says it's okay. I have this potato peeler, and so I'm like, okay. It looks. She does one. I'm like, oh, that's easy. So I go to do it, and I'm like hacking at this thing. I'm like, why is this not working as easily as it does for her?
Don't stab it. Hey guys, don't make fun of that.
Yeah, I make fun of myself. That's a potato peeler. I don't know how to use it. I don't get it. And that's why I don't know. Unless it's coffee. But I don't know how to use that tool correctly. Emily can make me look like a chump. I'm pretty sure anyone can make me look like a chump with a potato. But the same thing is with guitar. You have to know how to play it right. Same thing with video games. You have to have some, like we talked about last time I was here, you have to have some sort of strategy. You have to know what the buttons do to play the game. Same thing with singing in a choir. You have to know how to sing, right? That or you don't stay in the choir long. If you're lifting weights, you have to know proper techniques. And if you play sports, again, you have to know the plays, you have to know the rules. There's
Technique.
So in life, you have to know how to do, like, we have different tools in life, and we have to know how to use them. And one of these tools that we have for God's kingdom is wealth. And now some of us may not have a lot of wealth, but that's okay. Like I said earlier, God can use anything that you have. Whatever He's blessed you with, He can allow you to use for His glory. And even if you don't have a lot of money, guys, you can still use your money to honor God. We have tithing, that's giving to the church, that's supporting the church. We have, you can give food to the homeless. Like, there's many ways you can use your wealth, even if you don't have a lot, for God. That's just one tool that God can use. But a lot of people misuse that and take it for granted, and they become greedy, and they put their trust and security in that, where the ultimate trust and security is in God. So what do we plan to do with what we are given? What do we plan to do with what we are given? How will our money show where our heart is? How will our money show where our heart is? Because what you spend your money on shows where your heart is. Now, I'm not saying it's bad to go see Avengers, but I mean, where do you use most of your money at? What's the main focus? So again, the two things that we want to see in wealth, and knowing why it matters, is because if we don't use it carefully, wealth can hurt us. And if we're focused on God, we should be able to share it. So guys, I challenge you to go home, to reevaluate what God has given you. Maybe it's not money, but maybe it's other things that God may have blessed you with that you can use for your glory, for God's glory, not yours, for God's glory. What can you do for God with what you have? I remember a long time ago, and this just came to me, like I did not have this in my notes or anything, like literally just hit me. And I was thinking about an example all day. It's crazy. Anyway, but I remember a long time ago, I had this gray Ford pickup. It was my dad's old truck. And I was going to see my friend Josh. He lived like 20 minutes down the road from me. And you don't know the road, so I'm not going to say it. But there's just like this packed, like busy road. And there's a stranger, like I'm stopped at this red light, and a stranger comes up to me. And it was like old lady, like very sketchy. And she was like, "Can you give me a ride to my apartment?" I'm like, "Sure." Sure. And so she gets in, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna die any second now. Like she's gonna pull out a knife or something and shake me. But she didn't do that, and I drove her to her apartment. Everything was fine. She got out, and it wasn't actually much further than when I was going anyway. And she turned to me and said, "You know, there's not many people who help people anymore, so thank you." And I something that's always kind of stood with me. And so guys, use what you have for God's glory. Show the love of Christ with what you have, whether it is money, whether it is whatever. Show the love of Christ through these tools that you have been blessed with. Because everyone has different tools, different abilities, different gifts, different blessings that you can use to glorify. So that's my challenge to you, to go home and to evaluate that. Like, what do you have that you can use for God's glory, for God's kingdom? Let's close, and then y'all are gonna go to small groups. All the guys are gonna go to Paul. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for everything you've done for us, Lord. Thank you for being with us, Lord, and thank you for everything that you've given to us, Lord. You've given us more than we can ask for, and we just ask that we use these things wisely, Lord, for your glory, for your kingdom, Lord, that they don't just benefit us, but they benefit you, Lord. We ask this in your name. Just name, Amen. Small groups.